Hi there, you're welcome to another English class at LearnCity. Today, I'm going to uncover some patterns in pronunciation. Okay, I know that learning English pronunciations can be quite hard, all right? But in every language, there are patterns to follow. There are patterns that are inherent there. There are patterns that once you master them, there are some basic rules that once you master them, you can aggregate a lot of words in that group and say, okay, when you see this, it's likely going to be this. When you see this, it's likely going to be that, okay? You don't need to learn each word one after the other, okay, or learn words one after the other. As long as you follow the patterns, as long as you recognize the patterns, there are patterns in English pronunciation, and recognizing these patterns can catalyze you into fine, correct articulation of many words. Okay, patterns exist everywhere, patterns, and even in many languages of the world. Until date, they are still highly useful in making sense of a large body of things. Okay, we wouldn't have known so easily. Okay, till date, they are still highly useful in making sense of a large body of things we wouldn't have known so easily. So that's why it's important today we look at the patterns, okay, in words. Let's have a word like resign. How do you pronounce resign? You have the I, right? Resign. And the stress is on the second syllable because it's a verb. Resign. Resign. Okay? But when you have it as a noun, it becomes resignation. It becomes resignation. Resignation. Okay? Now, let's look at another word. Compile. Compile. Okay, compile, we have the stress on the second syllable too, but when you have compilation, it's not going to be compilation. That is the exact thing I'm talking about. It's not going to be resignation, but here it's resignation. Resignation. Compile, then you have compilation. Compilation. Okay, compilation. So you have that. Look at the word like design. Design. Okay, when you have it as a noun, then it becomes what? Designation. Designation. It's not going to be designation. So you're learning this pattern now. It's like this, it follows a particular pattern. From the I, it becomes the E. Okay, from resign, then you have resignation. From compile, you have compilation. From design, you have designation. From deprive, then if you have the noun, what would it be? Deprivation. Okay, the stress placement will change. From resign, you have the stress placement on the second syllable. Here the stress placement is changing from the second syllable to the penultimate syllable in resignation. Okay, from compile, the stress placement is changing from compile to compilation. Okay, compile, compilation. Design, designation. Designation. Okay, from deprive, you have deprivation. So you have the pattern. From define, okay, and it's not divine. See, let's say chemistry can be divined. You don't divine something, you define. Okay, to establish the difference between your fa sound, okay, it's giving us the fa sound. All right, it's running from the va sound. In the fa sound, there is no vibration. Okay, but in the va sound, there is vibration. So when you have define, it's not the same thing as divine. You can't say something can be divine. You say something, except you're talking about something that comes from heaven. Okay, so you have something like divine. All right, but you have define. Okay, so you have this pattern changing from define not to definition but to definition. Okay, definition. From derive, then it's changing to what? To derivation. From derive, then it's changing to derivation. So you have a derivation of something. Let's give you this definition, not the definition, but definition. All you have to do to get the difference between the fa sound and the va sound, just have to say fa, father, like father, like fa. They say va, like van. So to do this, you can do this brief test. You say something like fan van. If you can maintain that, you should be part of you now. Fan van. You cannot do that. Okay, just change it. Say van fan. If you have a break, do it about 10 times. Okay, about 10 times, then you do it again and then again. Like fan van. Okay, and do the van fan. If you have a break, that means okay, it's something you need to work on. Okay, so it's like a pattern. You have recite. Okay, let's recite this. Okay, but then you have recitation. So you have a couple of words like that now. Okay, but we have realize and we have realization. That is an exception. It's out of it. Okay, but you discover that there is a pattern here. The pattern as in resign, not resignation, resignation. The pattern here as in compile, then you have compilation, not compilation. It's wrong. You have design, then you have designation, not designation. It's wrong. We have deprive, then you have deprivation, not deprivation. We have define, then you have definition. Don't forget it's define, not divine. When it's divine, it comes from heaven. Okay, but this is defined. So chemistry can be defined, okay, or physics can be defined, and physics, not physics. Okay, you're not talking about the other. Okay, you're talking about this physics. So that is what you have here. So you have define, and then you have definition. You have derive, then you have derivation. You have recite, then you have recitation. But here you have realize, then you have realization. Okay, that is an exception. That is not part of the rule. So you've seen now that patterns can catalyze you into fine, correct articulation of many words. Okay, just like I've said earlier, patterns exist everywhere. And in many languages of the world, until date, they are still highly useful in making sense of a large body of things we wouldn't have known so easily. So this is a pattern that you need to observe in pronunciation, okay? And the pattern that occurs everywhere, okay? Except like one or two exceptions. Thank you.